Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt the energy shift without a single word being spoken? Or perhaps you've had a conversation with someone, and despite their words saying one thing, you knew they were feeling something completely different. How is it possible to sense what others are thinking without them uttering a word? The answer lies in a language older than spoken words, a language we all speak but often overlook. Body language. In today's fast-paced world, we often rely on verbal communication, texting, and emails to convey messages. But words only scratch the surface of what we truly feel and think. The reality is, 90% of human communication is nonverbal. That means much of what people express comes through gestures, facial expressions, posture, and subtle movements they may not even be aware of. The question is, are you paying attention? And more importantly, do you know how to read these signs? Now imagine, if you had the power to truly understand what someone else was thinking just by observing them. No need for mind-reading magic or supernatural abilities, just a deeper understanding of human nature. That's where body language comes into play. And for centuries, ancient Buddhist practices have held profound insights into this very skill. While modern psychology has delved deep into the science of body language, Buddhists have long taught the importance of mindfulness, observation, and connecting deeply with others beyond mere words. The combination of these ancient teachings with modern insights creates a powerful framework for reading people and understanding their true intentions. Body language speaks volumes, often revealing what someone doesn't want to say out loud or isn't even aware they are communicating. A glance away during a conversation might indicate discomfort. A forced smile might hide underlying sadness or frustration. The tapping of a foot could reveal impatience or nervousness. These are the subtleties that, when noticed, give you an incredible edge in understanding people. Whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or even casual interactions. In Buddhist philosophy, there is a deep focus on awareness, not just of oneself, but of others. This awareness isn't limited to words or surface-level interactions. It's about truly seeing the person in front of you, observing the unspoken signals, and connecting on a deeper level. This practice of mindfulness and present awareness is key to understanding people's body language and emotions. The Buddha himself taught that to fully connect with others, we must first quiet our minds and focus on the present moment. Only then can we perceive the subtle nuances of human interaction that often go unnoticed. Consider this. You're in a meeting, and everything seems fine on the surface. Your colleague nods along with the discussion, but their crossed arms, tense shoulders, and lack of eye contact tell a different story. They're disengaged, perhaps even in disagreement. If you don't catch these signs, you might misinterpret their silence as agreement, leading to future miscommunication. On the flip side, if you're attuned to their body language, you might adjust your approach, ask for their opinion directly, or address the underlying tension before it escalates. The ability to read body language doesn't just help in professional settings. In personal relationships, understanding unspoken cues can prevent misunderstandings, heal emotional rifts, and deepen connections. Imagine noticing that your partner is stressed before they even say a word, allowing you to offer support just when they need it most. Or catching the subtle signs that your friend is feeling left out in a group conversation, enabling you to bring them back into the fold. These small acts of awareness, rooted in the wisdom of both Buddhism and modern psychology, can transform how you interact with the world around you. But this skill goes even further. It's not just about reading others, it's about gaining control over how you are perceived. Buddhist practices emphasize the importance of self-awareness and how the mind and body are interconnected. By becoming more mindful of your own body language, you can consciously project confidence, calmness, and empathy, even in situations where you might feel unsure or anxious. The Buddha taught that our external world is often a reflection of our internal state, and by mastering both, we can navigate life with greater clarity and purpose. So how do we start this journey of understanding and mastering body language? It begins with 3 core techniques drawn from both ancient Buddhist wisdom and modern psychological research. These techniques will guide you in observing others with heightened awareness, deciphering their unspoken messages and gaining insight into their thoughts and emotions. By the end of this journey, you won't just be hearing what people say, you'll be understanding what they truly mean. Get ready to unlock the secrets of human behavior, using tools that have stood the test of time. From Buddhist monks in ancient temples to modern psychologists in laboratories, the principles of reading body language remain timeless. And once you've mastered these techniques, you'll discover that the world is speaking to you in ways you've never imagined. Welcome to the art of reading minds through the wisdom of body language. Once upon a time in ancient India, during the time of the Buddha, there lived a wise monk named Ananda. Ananda was known for his deep understanding of human nature and his ability to sense the unspoken emotions of those around him. He was a disciple of the Buddha, following the path of mindfulness and compassion, and had cultivated a profound awareness of both the mind and body. One day, as Ananda was meditating near a peaceful riverbank, a young man approached him, looking troubled. His face was tense, his steps hurried, and his eyes darted nervously from side to side. Although the young man said nothing, Ananda could sense his distress immediately. Without exchanging a word, Ananda gestured for the young man to sit beside him. The young man hesitated at first, but soon found himself sitting on the soft grass next to the monk. His shoulders were slumped and his hands fidgeted in his lap. Ananda sat quietly, observing the young man's body language. He didn't need to ask what was wrong. He could see it in the young man's posture, in the way he avoided eye contact, and in the restless movements of his hands. This man was carrying the weight of deep inner turmoil. After a few moments of silence, the young man finally spoke. "Master, my mind is filled with so much confusion. I don't understand why I am suffering so much. I feel lost, misunderstood by everyone around me, and I don't know how to find peace." Ananda turned to the young man, his gaze soft and compassionate. "Tell me," he said gently, "what do you believe is the source of your suffering?" The young man sighed deeply. "It's hard to explain. I feel like I am always misunderstood by my family and friends. They say they care, but their actions say otherwise. Every time I try to speak, they don't listen, and when I share my thoughts, they dismiss me. I can see their frustration in their eyes, and it hurts me deeply. I feel like I don't belong." Ananda listened intently, his face calm and serene. "You say that your family and friends do not understand you, but are you sure you truly understand them?" The young man was taken aback by this question. He had never considered this possibility before. I think I do. I can see when they're upset or angry. I can tell when they're frustrated with me." Ananda smiled softly. "It is true that you can sense their emotions, but emotions are often only the surface of deeper truths. You see, we all communicate not just through words, but through our bodies, our gestures, our expressions. Even the smallest movements can speak volumes. If you want to truly understand those around you, you must learn to read their unspoken language, the language of the body." The young man looked puzzled. "The language of the body?" Ananda nodded. "Yes, every gesture, every posture, even the way someone breathes can tell you about what they are truly feeling. It is a form of communication that is often overlooked, but it is one that can reveal more than words ever could. Let me tell you a story, one that illustrates this truth. Many years ago, there was a wealthy merchant who lived in a bustling city. This merchant had everything: wealth, power, a beautiful family, but he was deeply unhappy. No matter how much he achieved, there was always a sense of emptiness inside him. He felt disconnected from those he loved and grew increasingly frustrated with his life. One day, while traveling through a remote village, the merchant heard about a wise monk who could see into people's hearts and offer them profound insights. Intrigued, the merchant decided to seek out this monk in the hopes of finding answers to his own struggles. After a long journey, the merchant finally found the monk, who was seated under a large tree at the edge of a serene forest. The merchant approached him and said, "Master, I am lost. I have everything a man could want, yet I feel completely alone. My family does not understand me, and I feel as though I am drifting through life without purpose. Can you help me?" The monk looked at the merchant with kind eyes and asked him to sit down. "Tell me," the monk said, "when you are with your family, how do you speak to them? How do you sit with them? How do you look at them?" The merchant, confused by the question, replied, "I speak to them as anyone would. I tell them what's on my mind. As for how I sit or look at them, I don't know. I suppose I haven't thought about it much." The monk smiled gently. "And that is where your problem lies. You speak to them, but you do not communicate. You see them, but you do not truly observe. You listen to their words, but you do not hear their hearts." Perplexed, the merchant asked, "What do you mean? How can I listen to someone's heart?" The monk gestured to the forest around them. "Nature teaches us everything we need to know. Look at the trees. They do not speak, yet they communicate. When a storm approaches, the trees sway and bend, not with words but with movement. The wind carries messages without sound, and the river flows without explanation. In the same way, humans communicate through their bodies and their presence. If you wish to understand your family, you must learn to observe them, not just their words, but the way they move, the way they sit, the way their faces change in subtle ways. This is where the truth of their hearts lies." The merchant frowned. "But how will that help me? I already know they are angry with me." The monk shook his head. "You see their anger, but you do not understand its source. Watch them closely the next time you are with them. Pay attention to their body language, the way they hold themselves, the way they breathe, the tension in their hands or face. You will learn more from their unspoken language than from any words they say." The merchant was skeptical, but decided to follow the monk's advice. When he returned home, he observed his family closely. He noticed that his wife, who he thought was angry with him, often looked down when she spoke to him. Her shoulders slumped, as though she carried a great burden. His son, who had seemed distant, often clenched his fists when talking, a sign of frustration and fear. Slowly, the merchant began to understand that his family's anger was not directed at him, but rather at the hardships they were facing, hardships they had never spoken of, but that were visible in their body language. The more the merchant observed, the more he realized how disconnected he had been, not because they did not care, but because he had not been truly present with them. Over time, the merchant began to change the way he interacted with his family. He no longer relied solely on words, but instead tuned into the subtle cues of their body language. He offered comfort when he saw tension, gave space when he sensed frustration, and provided support when he noticed signs of fatigue. Slowly, his relationships began to heal, and the emptiness inside him was replaced by a deep sense of connection and understanding. Ananda finished his story and looked at the young man, who was now sitting with his head bowed, deep in thought. "So you see," Ananda said softly, "your suffering comes not from being misunderstood, but from not fully understanding those around you. When you learn to read the unspoken language of the body, you will begin to see the truth of people's hearts. And in doing so, you will find the peace and connection that you seek." The young man looked up at Ananda, his eyes filled with newfound clarity. "Thank you, Master. I never realized how much I was missing by not truly observing those around me. I will try to practice what you've taught me." Ananda smiled warmly. "Remember, the key to understanding others is to be fully present with them, not just in words, but in body and mind. When you can do that, you will find that the world opens up to you in ways you never imagined." With that, the young man bowed in gratitude and left the riverbank, ready to embrace a new way of seeing and connecting with the world around him. This story emphasizes the power of mindfulness and the importance of paying attention to the subtle, nonverbal cues that can reveal the true emotions and thoughts of others. By learning to observe body language and gestures, we can deepen our connections with those around us and move toward greater understanding and compassion. Understanding body language is an invaluable skill that can significantly enhance your ability to connect with others and gauge their thoughts and feelings. In this section, we will explore practical techniques that can help you read body language more effectively. First and foremost, let's focus on the eyes. The eyes are often referred to as the windows to the soul, and for good reason. When conversing with someone, pay close attention to their eye movements. Are they making direct eye contact, or do they frequently look away? Direct eye contact typically indicates interest and honesty. However, if someone avoids eye contact, it may signal discomfort or that they are hiding something. Moreover, take note of the direction of their gaze. If their eyes dart around, they might be distracted or seeking an escape from the conversation. Conversely, if their gaze is steady and focused on you, it suggests that they are engaged and receptive to what you are saying. Next, let's talk about facial expressions. A person's face can communicate a wealth of information, often revealing emotions that words do not convey. Notice the subtle changes in their expression as you speak. A frown or a furrowed brow might indicate confusion or concern, while a smile can signal happiness or agreement. Pay attention to the eyes. Do they crinkle with genuine joy, or do they appear forced? A real smile reaches the eyes, while a fake smile often does not. By honing your ability to read these expressions, you can gain deeper insight into how someone truly feels during your conversation. Another crucial aspect to observe is gestures and posture. The way a person carries themselves and uses their hands while speaking can provide vital clues about their emotional state. For instance, crossed arms may indicate defensiveness or resistance, while open arms suggest openness and receptivity. Furthermore, if someone leans in towards you, it typically shows interest, while leaning back can imply disinterest or discomfort. Watch for fidgeting as well. Tapping fingers or shifting in their seat can be signs of anxiety or impatience. By being attuned to these physical cues, you can adjust your approach to better align with their emotional state. Let's not forget about the significance of proximity and personal space. The distance between you and the person you are speaking with can communicate a lot about your relationship and their comfort level. If someone stands too close, they may be overly familiar or intrusive, while standing too far away could suggest a lack of interest or emotional detachment. Be mindful of cultural differences as well. What feels comfortable in one culture may be considered intrusive in another. Recognizing and respecting personal space is crucial for building trust and rapport. Lastly, practice active listening while observing these body language cues. When you genuinely listen and engage with the person you are conversing with, you create an environment where they feel valued and understood. This can lead to more open communication and a deeper connection. By combining your observations of body language with active listening, you can create a powerful synergy that enhances your understanding of others. In conclusion, becoming adept at reading body language requires practice and patience. By paying attention to eye contact, facial expressions, gestures, posture, and personal space, you can gain profound insights into what others are truly thinking and feeling. This not only helps you to respond appropriately, but also fosters stronger, more authentic connections in your interactions. In today's fast-paced world, the ability to read body language is more important than ever. From personal relationships to professional settings, understanding nonverbal cues can lead to deeper connections and more effective communication. In business meetings, for instance, the subtle shift in posture or eye contact can indicate a person's level of engagement or agreement with an idea. Recognizing these signals allows you to adjust your approach in real time, fostering a more collaborative atmosphere. Moreover, the rise of remote work has added a new dimension to body language interpretation. With video calls becoming the norm, the way we present ourselves on screen has become crucial. A person's body language is still visible, but it's often more pronounced due to the focus on facial expressions. Small gestures, such as nodding, leaning in, or maintaining eye contact through the camera, play a pivotal role in conveying attentiveness and sincerity. This shift has prompted many to become more aware of their own nonverbal communication, leading to improved interactions and strengthened relationships. On a personal level, I've found that honing my ability to read body language has profoundly impacted my connections with others. Whether it's a friend who seems distracted during a conversation or a colleague who appears defensive, recognizing these cues has allowed me to approach them with empathy. For example, during a recent team project, I noticed a colleague who was usually very engaged suddenly withdrawing. Instead of assuming disinterest, I took the time to ask if everything was okay. It turned out they were facing personal challenges that made it hard for them to focus. By being attentive to their body language, I could offer support, which strengthened our working relationship and created a more open environment. Furthermore, the techniques I've learned not only apply to interpreting others, but also to self-awareness. By being mindful of my own body language, I can project confidence and openness, enhancing my interactions. For instance, maintaining an open posture and making eye contact has made a noticeable difference in how people respond to me. This reciprocal understanding has enriched my relationships, both personally and professionally. The journey of learning to read body language is not just about acquiring a skill. It's about fostering connections and enriching our understanding of the world around us. The Buddhist story of the blind brother teaches us that awareness, patience, and presence are key components in truly understanding others. It reminds us that while words convey messages, the unspoken language of the body often speaks louder and more truthfully. As we navigate our daily lives, let us apply the lessons learned about body language to enhance our interactions. By focusing our minds on the present and observing the subtle cues others give us, we open ourselves to a deeper comprehension of their thoughts and feelings. This understanding can lead to more meaningful conversations, healthier relationships, and an overall enriched experience of human connection. In summary, mastering the art of reading body language equips us with tools to thrive in various aspects of life. It encourages us to look beyond the surface, to understand the emotions and intentions that often go unspoken. Whether in personal relationships, professional environments, or casual encounters, the ability to interpret body language effectively can lead to transformative experiences and profound connections. Let us strive to be more observant, empathetic, and present in our interactions, paving the way for richer and more fulfilling relationships with those around us.